Alright, this one is gonna be quick because in the previous video we basically finished the client handle that are gonna be the class who we're gonna be responsible to handle the client and listen to the client. So we added this here, and then in this video we had to implement like the process message here because well we receive a message from the client and then we need to process this data. But I'm gonna do another thing that is important before, because if you see here, like let's say that we want to print stuff to the message to the console here using the print. The problem with this is that if I run my server and let's say that I'm typing something, I'm typing like listing, let me say that I'm typing and I'm doing this on purpose, like I'm not writing everything, and let's say that the client connects, Python client, it connected, and then it's gonna print a message. Here you go. If you see here, the message is like it literally got printed in the middle of my message, and I can keep typing and it's gonna work. But you don't want this thing to happen. You don't want like something like annoying in front of you. You don't want to do that. What you want is to create like a queue, like a message list, to add stuff to that message and then use it when you feel like it's necessary. So we're gonna do that here in this video. In the terminal interface, I'm gonna do import threading because it needs to be thread safe, and I'll get rid of those variables here. Actually, I'll leave it here for now, but I'm gonna do self.message list. It's not a list actually, it's a queue, and it's gonna be empty by default, and I'm gonna create a self.message queue lock that are gonna be threading.lock. You guys already know that, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna provide a function here, and I think it's okay to make the function public. If you remember from the previous videos, like everything that they make public inside the terminal interface, we will be able to call it, but it's not a problem. I'm gonna create a message, and I'm gonna make like text. That's gonna be a string. And in the documentation, add the new message to the queue. Params, gonna be text. That is a string. Here you go. Now we have the message that you're gonna basically lock with self.message queue lock, and I'm gonna add this thing to the end of my message. So I'm adding this text here in the end of my message queue. Okay. Just like that. And now what we can do here is like, because this method we're gonna add stuff to the queue, and we can have like a function that I'm gonna show next message, displays the next message in the queue if exists, and pop the next message. So what this show next message is gonna do is basically showcase. You're gonna pop from the message queue the first message is if applies, and then you're gonna print in the terminal. Okay, just like that. So with self.message queue lock, what I'm gonna do if self.message queue is different. If it's empty, I'm gonna return. No need to keep doing this thing here. But if not, I'm gonna retrieve the message. So I'm gonna be message queue 0, and I'm gonna set the message queue to be the message queue excluding the first element. So starting in the first element, which is the second. Okay. So this is what I'm gonna do. And in this message here, I will actually print the message. message. Here you go. And then I'm gonna create another function called show all messages. Displays and pops all the messages in the queue. And I will actually return a boolean here. So I'm gonna return false, and here I'm gonna return true. Okay, and now let me actually put it here. Returns false if there is no message left. Here you go. And in the show all messages, I'm gonna do a while loop, while true. If not, self.show. Actually, I'm gonna do while self.show all message. I'm gonna pass. So this will basically print all the messages in the queue here. And why I did that? Why I did this fancy stuff? Well, because now in the client handle, instead of print stuff, I may be able to comment this and do like self.server.terminal.message, and I'm able to do this. Not this, actually. Let me print this new message. Here we go. So now I may be able to send a message to the terminal, but it is not gonna be effective immediately. So if I run this and then run a Python client, and oh, actually I can even, oops, I got an exception here. I think it's here, attribute error, probably here, right? Terminal, where's my terminal? Oh, it's a private, my terminal is private. I don't think it needs to be private, honestly. So I honestly just keep the server and change this to a public. Let me replace everything that is private to public. Here we go. And now I can access my terminal everywhere, and I have the message here that is a text. Okay, and oops, this is not how you run stuff. The server is running. Shut down this, and actually let me comment out the sleep time. Only gonna sleep for a fraction of seconds. So if I run the client, it finished it, but there's nothing here. But now, like, let me actually go the mess in the help. I have like show all message and show next message. Have this both those methods here, and let me show next message. You're gonna show the new message here. That is basically what we send here, new message. And I can show all messages with args 0. Can't run show all messages if no args. I don't know what is holding us here. Probably something, but I can't figure out. Like, it's expecting us to have like to pass an argument, but I don't know. Oh, it's recursive here. It does not need to be recursive. That's why. Here you go. Let me quit the application. Now I can do like show all messages here. Okay. And the thing here is, you know, something that may be great is to make this message a variadic argument in Python. That may be a great idea. I'm gonna do that, but for now, let me just test this, like message test, message potato. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with multi-line like that. There's an error, but I'm gonna make it work. So I'm adding, like, I'm sending message to myself here. YouTube message subscribe. And then if I go show next message, test potato, it's literally popping a new message. And if I do show all messages, it's gonna show everything here. Message like YouTube subscribe. Okay, like YouTube subscribe. It's working. Okay, and the next thing that we need to do is that right now there's no way to have like if I send a message to myself, there's no way for me to figure out that I have a message in the queue here. So it may be a great idea to actually showcase that to the user. Say, hey, you have a new message in the queue. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna create a new private method here, def show terminal input prefix, and the last thing that they're gonna print is this, and is nothing, with self message queue lock. If self size is gonna be lamb self message queue. If size is more than 0, I'm gonna print you have size new messages. Type show all messages to see, to read. So it's gonna basically do a hint saying, hey, you have a new message, you have a new unread message, please do it. And why I'm doing this terminal input prefix, because if you remember in the run, the input is like this. You're gonna put this symbol here when you want the user to input something. I'm not gonna put this, but instead I'm gonna call this function, show terminal input prefix. And then I will just wait for an input here. Simple like that. I don't even think that we need to add this. Okay? And what is good about that is that every time in a message, show next message, I'm gonna do like bool add prefix equals to true. And if add prefix, I'm gonna call this show terminal input prefix as well. And I need to print actually in a new line. And here, I'm gonna add a counter to 0 and count plus is equal to 1. Not gonna show the prefix, and if count is more than 0, I'm gonna show the prefix. And this is basically me formatting my text, okay? Don't worry about that. And I can have new lines, I noticed that as well. Right here. Here we go. I think that's it. And now, if I run the server again, it's running. If I end the message like test, and I just type that, and every time I press enter or there's a new line, I see you have one new message. Type show all message to read them. And if I send another message, potato, I have 2 new messages. If I send again another stuff, I have 4 new messages. And if I do show next message, it's gonna send a message, and there's no prefix here. Why? It's true, right? If I call this with no args, well, anyways, it blocked for some very weird reason. Like the script literally crashed. Alright, now it's working, and my bad. It turns out that this, first of all, this show terminal prefix, it was using like the message queue lock, but I was calling this it here, and the lock was like locked, and then the code could not get out of this show terminal prefix. I realized that, well, it doesn't matter, I don't need to have this prefix here, I can just land this message queue and whatever. And it turns out as well that I don't need to call this show terminal input prefix here, because it will already be called in the run. So that's okay, that's basically it. And now, again, if I run my server and message me, potato, message YouTube, message subscribe, okay, and I have like 3 types of messages, 3 new message types, show all message to read them. And I can show next message to only read 1, and I can see message potato, and I have 2 new message, and I can show all messages as well. Oops. And show error running, show all message with these arguments. There's another oh, I don't need this false here. But anyways, I forgot to remove that. That's the point here, and I'm thinking that it may be a bad idea to call this message, because message is the term that we're gonna use in the online part. So I'm not gonna call it message for now. I'm gonna call it log. Yeah, I'm gonna rename it to log. So everywhere, show next log. I'm gonna find and replace like everything that is message to log actually. Oops. Show all logs. I think that's it. Except that here, and I'm gonna rename this to log as well. Log QE. Let me find this. Message queue log, message queue. Here we go. Now I don't say like message. Oh, I am saying here new log. Okay, now I definitely don't have any message here anymore, and I can run this again and send a message to myself. Potato. Sorry. Log potato, log subscribe, and log potato as well. I have 3 new logs. It needs to be logs. And if I do show next log, it's gonna show potato, and if I do show all logs, it's gonna show the rest. Okay, very simple, just like that. And another thing that it's annoying me is I don't want to have this. Here we go, much better. And show all logs, I may change that to show logs. Okay, or just include both, like def show logs self. And what is good about this is that we can very easily create a new log here, for example, when the user connects, and then we can retrieve this log. For example, let me run the Python. I can again log test, and I have a new log. And if I run the client, it runs. And if I press enter, I have 4 new logs. I'm gonna do show log, and I have like this 4 logs, okay, that I received somewhere. It may be a great idea to include the date of the log. I'm not gonna bother a lot about that, not yet. But it's important for us to have this kind of stuff. Okay, show logs. And well, I think that's it. Another thing that I'd like to do is to allow this log to have a variadic argument count, because right now I cannot, for example, do like log multi-line and multiple word phrase. I cannot do this because it's a lot of arguments here. Well, it may not be what I want. So what I'm gonna do maybe, so let me try to do that. Instead of a string, let me make this args. Let me do like make the log receive a list of args, and then I'm gonna append this list of args, and I use this character here to indicate that it's a variadic. It's hard to pronounce this word, argument, meaning that I will be able to do, like in a client handle, for example, I will be able to, just like the print, do this, log the address, send a new message, and then the message. Okay, I may be able to do that. And here, when I actually show the next message here in the print, instead of just doing this, I'm gonna put this symbol here as well to separate that into different parameters. And maybe now I'll connect the server and log multiple arguments. That's cool. Here you go. I have a new log, and if I go show logs multiple arguments, that's cool. Okay, and if I run the server here, because the client handle is actually running everything, Python client, it runs, and I have new 3 logs. I can show the logs, and here we go. I have everything that I want. So I have the address, sent a new message, and then I have the message. Okay, so this is a very simple but efficient approach to actually communicate to my server, to my stuff. I have this log server.terminal.log API that I can basically run log whatever I want here in the log QE, and then I'm gonna read the log when it's appropriate. So that's amazing, and that's basically it for this video. The video was a little bit longer than I expected, but again, it's working, and in the next video we will be able to start writing like the code to actually implement, to actually parse the message that we send and receive in the server and the client. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you have any questions or comment, leave in the comment that I'm going to try to read this and answer as fast as possible, and I see you in the next video.